And at 160, the car went into the infamous limp mode. My best friend, I've known him for over 30 years. When we were younger, his dad had an 87 Testarossa, bought it in 88, had 11,000 miles on it, kept it for over 20 years, and I think only put 2,000 miles on it. And most, if not all those miles were from him, my friend, and me. I was 4 or 5 years old, and he put me in the driver's seat and then basically locked me in because I had no idea how to get out of it. So it sat for a long time. We always wanted to drive it, and eventually when you get 17, 18 years old, you figure out a way to do it. And he was the mastermind. He took a battery out of his mom's Expedition, put it in the front, hooked it up with jumper cables. We just left it connected because that's what 18-year-olds do. And we took it out for a drive, took a ride out of his neighborhood, went down to the local police station, took a left back out, came down the outer road, which is a 45, and being young and dumb, put the high beams on, drove in the middle of the streets as to not hit side potholes, and did 150. It felt pretty solid. I was 18, so, you know, I think it felt as a Ferrari driving down the middle of the road in the middle of the night at 150 miles an hour when you've never gone that fast should feel, which was pretty good. I don't know. I guess you get scared later. You don't get scared in the moment. In the moment, you're like, my job was to tell how fast we were going. His job was to shift and then stay in it. So, you know, I kept reeling off the numbers, 120, 130, 140, 145, 150. And then I guess 150, I guess, was enough for us at the time. And then we brought it back and we put it in the garage. And his parents were coming home in a little while. And they didn't know, of course, that we had taken it out. And we wanted to make sure that they didn't know. So we put towels on the rear engine cover and put frozen peas on top of it so as to cool it down and make sure that they wouldn't figure out that we had it out at 150 miles an hour. He took the car out, had it in first gear, made a left-hand turn onto the outer road where he lived, kicked the back end out into the guardrail, and so the back end was in the guardrail, so the guardrail carved out a section of the rear bumper. I'm not sure how his dad didn't kill him for that one. It would die a lot, and so he would have to, I was with him one time, he had to kickstart, or, you know, pop start it, and he put it in reverse, pop started in reverse in the middle of the street, and had to make sure that the car behind him, we weren't going to hit the car behind us, and then quickly put it into first and drove away. We had another time where a Mustang GT, probably, you know, maybe a 99 Mustang GT pulled up next to us, and, you know, we thought we were just going to destroy him, but of course, an 87 Testarossa, as gorgeous as they are, aren't the fastest cars in the world. And especially when he's 6'4" and his knees are, you know, wrapped around the steering wheel and trying to shift. And yeah, the Mustang just blew us away. But it was a pretty quick car once you got it going, but it wasn't going to win any street races from the stop. The dad finally sold it, and it was sad because we'd grown up with this car. It was way more valuable to us over the course of our lives than it probably was to him. But yeah, that probably was one reason why I love cars so much now. It was a pretty special car. My friend, he became a big Corvette guy. He's on his third Corvette. It's a 2016 Z06 supercharged 650 horsepower stick. And when he bought it, almost immediately after he bought it, he had knee surgery. And so he couldn't drive it. And he called me and he said, hey, you know, I know you've been wanting to drive this car and see this car. I'm having knee surgery. And I said, yeah, maybe I could come up and drive it for the weekend, because he lives in Indiana, I'm in St. Louis. And he said, well, you know, you can have it while I'm recuperating from the knee surgery. And I said, oh, you know, that's very funny, haha, whatever. And he said, no, I'm serious. And basically got to the point where I said, if you're lying, you got to stop now, because my heart won't be able to take it. And he said, no, I'm serious. And I said, I would love to do that. So I became the owner of a 2016 Z06 with 13-ish thousand miles on it for 7 weeks. And in that time, I took many people for rides, scared many people. 2016 and older C7 Z06s have been known to overheat and go into limp mode. One morning, my friend Alex and I went out. It was very early in the morning, almost no cars on the road, but it was about 42-ish degrees out, and I was a little nervous because I knew we were going to do a high-speed run. And so on the way out there, I kept testing the tires for grip, and on a side road, there was nobody there, it was early in the morning, you know, would accelerate from 50 to 120, 130. Well, I guess being a little nervous, I did that too many times, And we get out onto the highway, and I wait and for all the cars to go by, start my run, and get up to 160. And at 160, the car went into the infamous limp mode. It was a little unnerving, you know, getting it up to 160. I wanted 170, 175, but it went into limp mode at 160. And the interior lights lit up like a Christmas tree, check engine light. It had told me it was in limp mode. All the lights came on, and of course this isn't my car, so I'm scared to death. So I pulled it over, restarted it a couple times, and that kind of went away. And then the check engine light was still on, so I had to take it in, but it needed to go in for an oil change anyway, so I just had them, you know, check the check engine light as well. But of course, now looking back, I realized that probably, you know, checking the tires 6-7 times, probably then getting up to 160, engage limp mode, although it's still no excuse for a high performance car to go into limp mode at all, especially one made for the track, but that's a whole nother. I tried to drive as much as I could because I know I was not gonna have that opportunity again. Yeah, but it was amazing. Took many people for rides. Some people enjoyed it. I think some people did not enjoy it. My father-in-law did not enjoy it. My mother-in-law enjoyed it very much. So points for her, for sure. But I was very sad to give that back. And he's a very good friend for trusting me with that.